Welcome to week 11 of Bible Studies for Life. Today we're in the fourth session of this journey through Elijah's life, and today we look at one of the great passages, a great story about him. If you know much about Elijah, you probably already know this story, so you may be familiar with it already. But what's happened is Ezekiel has come now to meet with Ahab, who's the king, who's extremely evil. He's gone through a prophet there named Obadiah, and he's been kind of the intermediary that's gotten him this meeting with Ahab, and now he's about to lay down a challenge for the prophets of Baal, those who have rejected the Lord but who are following these false gods, and so he's going to lay down a challenge for them. I think you'll like this passage. It says, "So Ahab summoned all the Israelites and gathered the prophets at Mount Carmel. Then Elijah approached all the people and said, 'How long will you waver between two opinions? If the Lord is God, follow him. But if Baal, follow him.' But the people didn't answer him a word." So he has told Ahab, "You get everybody together. We're going to have a challenge." And so they bring the Israelites and the prophets of Baal. They all gathered there at Mount Carmel. And so Elijah goes out and says, "Look, you got to pick one or the other. You can't pretend that you're following Yahweh and you're following Baal at the same time. If one of them is right, then that's who you need to follow, right? So you've got to pick one. If the Lord is God, well, you follow him. But if Baal's God, well, you follow him. But you need to make a choice." And the people didn't answer. So by not answering, they've answered, right? They've basically said, "We're going to pick Baal." When you don't pick the Lord, then you've picked anything other than him. And that's kind of what they've done. So Elijah said to the people, here's the setup, right? "I'm the only remaining prophet of the Lord, but Baal's prophets are 450 men. Let 2 bulls be given to us. They are to choose 1 bull for themselves, cut it in pieces, place it on the wood, but not light the fire. I will prepare the other bull and place it on the wood, but not light the fire. Then you call in the name of your God. I'll call in the name of the Lord. The God who answers with fire, he is God." And the people answered, "Well, that's fine." They like it. We like this. Good idea. So you guys are going to build an altar over there, 450 of you. I'm going to build an altar over here. We're going to put our offering on it, and then we're not going to light it up. And then we'll just see which God can light a fire, burn up this burnt offering. Now, the burnt offering was a familiar thing in all religions, whether they were the religions of Yahweh or other religions. So it was not an unusual thing for them to do, and they were very experienced in it, and they knew how to build it. They just hadn't had this deal where they didn't get to light the fire before, and they're basically, let's just see which God can light the fire. All right? So Elijah said to the prophets of Baal, "Since you're so numerous, choose for yourselves 1 bull, prepare it first, then call on the name of the Lord your God, but don't light the fire." So they took the bull he gave them, prepared it, called on the name of Baal from morning till noon. 6 hours, maybe 3 hours, whatever it is. "Baal, answer us." But there was no sound. No one answered. Then they danced around the altar they'd made. Boy, you go read this story in 1 Kings 18. And Elijah, at this point, after lunch, when they still haven't gotten an answer from Baal, he kind of starts trash talking them. I mean, he does not kind of. He trash talks him. Well, maybe Baal's out of town. Maybe he can't hear you. Maybe you need to be a little bit louder. Maybe he's in the back room. He doesn't know. I mean, he's and he can do it because he knows Baal is nothing. He's not a god. He's just a piece of wood. He's just a stone. That's it. There's nothing there. He's not God because there's only one God, and that God is Yahweh. And he has this confidence, and he sees nothing's happening. These people are killing themselves trying to appease Baal so he'll light this fire, and it's just not happening. Then Elijah said to all the people, "Come near me." So all the people approached him. Then he repaired the Lord's altar that had been torn down. You see this? So this is why he picks this spot at Mount Carmel, because there was an altar there, but it had been torn down, because that's what Ahab had done. They torn down the altars of God and built altars to Baal. So he goes and repairs this altar that had been built for the Lord. Elijah took 12 stones according to the number of the tribes of the sons of Jacob, to whom the word of the Lord had come, saying, "Israel will be your name." And he built an altar with the stones in the name of the Lord. Okay. We're in the northern kingdom, right? We got a split kingdom, north and south. Basically, 2 tribes in the south and 10 in the north. But he says that we're building an altar with 12 stones because the divide in the nation was not the Lord's goal, was not the Lord's ideal, and we're going to live off the ideal here, right? and he made a trench around the altar large enough to hold about 4 gallons. Okay. Then they take water. He says, get some water and pour water over the top of it. So they've got the altar built. They put the offering up there. They put the wood. They put the sacrifice. Then he says to pour water on it. So they pour water on it. Do it again. He says they do it again. He says do it again. They do it a third time. And this trench is completely full of water all the way around. The whole thing has been doused with water over and over and over again. And this is because Elijah wants to make it clear this is no trick. Okay, this is not some magician's act that I'm doing. This thing is wet. It cannot be lit unless God moves. And it says, at the time for offering the sacrifice, the prophet Elijah approached the altar and he said, Lord, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Israel, today let it be known that you are God in Israel, and I am your servant, and that your word I have done all these things. Okay, a couple of things that I think we ought to pick up on here. Okay, there is this hey, this may be the northern kingdom and we may be a divided nation, but this kingdom is just as much belonging to God as the southern kingdom of Judah is, where the temple is in Jerusalem. Okay, these are God's people too, and this is God's place. This is the promised land where we are. He says the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Israel, which Israel is the name of that northern kingdom, right? That's the name they've taken. So he says, let it be known that you're God. The other thing I want you to point out is he just has this simple prayer. Man, those prophets of Baal, 450 of them were yelling, screaming, singing, dancing, cutting themselves, doing everything they could, hour after hour after hour after hour, and nothing happened. And Elijah just goes, he builds the altar, he prays, and he says, answer me, Lord. Answer me so that this people will know that you, the Lord, are God, and that you have turned their hearts back. This fire that's going to come from heaven that he's praying for is not the fire of judgment so much. I mean, there is a judgment on who they have been, but it's also a fire of grace. Here, I'm welcoming you back. I am still appearing. I am showing up to pull you back, to draw you back. I am showing you who I am so that you will come back to me. It is the fire of grace and forgiveness as much as the fire of judgment. And that's his prayer. Lord, answer me so that these people will know that you are God and that you have turned their hearts back. You are bringing them back. Then the Lord's fire fell and consumed the burnt offering, the wood, the stones, and the dust, and it licked up the water that was in the trench. When all the people saw it, they fell face down and said, the Lord, he is God. The Lord, he is God. Man, when the fire fell on that, look at what happened. It didn't just consume the burnt offering. It burned up the wood, which we would expect. It burned up the stones. It burned up the dust. The water was gone. Everything is totally wiped out. And when people saw that, they fell on their faces, boom, and said, God, the Lord, he's God. Not Baal, Yahweh. Yahweh, this is the Lord. Yahweh, he is God. Yahweh, he is God. This is who we worship. Man, what a bold move by Elijah, right? I mean, bold, to take them on, head on. Listen, don't be afraid of those who are not believers. Don't be afraid of them. Who is the Lord? And who is on the Lord? The one who has the Lord on his side. What are we afraid of? Don't be afraid to put Christ in the middle of the town square, of the conversations that happen, because God wins these arguments. God is God. Now, he may not win on Facebook, right? Because Facebook doesn't change anybody's mind at all. But in the hearts of men, the Lord wins. So don't be afraid to have those conversations with people and to confront that which is wrong and that which is false, and to speak with truth, with love and grace and mercy, with an idea for people to come back. Right? This is God, how God moves and how God works. And this is the invitation to us to come back to him. This is what God's inviting us to. Come back, and he's calling people back all the time, calling them back to himself all the time. Come back. Oh, the Lord is seeking after his creation that it might bring glory to him. This is God's call to repentance and the fire of judgment, but the fire of grace. Fire of grace. Hey, thanks for watching. I hope this has helped. as you study, as you prepare. God bless you. Man, I appreciate all of you very much. And share this, like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Comment on it. Let us know what you're thinking. We'll see you next time.